Levistronic, remote control, telemetry, and technical assistance. Hello friends. I am going to show you how to install the AnyDesk program on a TCL20se mobile phone. To start, let's go to Play Store. And we will write AnyDesk in the search engine. Let's select AnyDesk Remote Desktop. And we install it. Let's click to open it. Now, in this notice, they tell us that they take data privacy very seriously, and we can know more about how they use them. We click OK. Be careful here. From now on we are going to get notices of this type, and we have to pay close attention to them. Whatever we must do is to press Don't Show This again. Here, the strategy we are going to use is take advantage of these warnings to ensure that we have the installation perfectly done. If we click on this checkbox, it will result that we will not see any errors that we may have. The correct installation will be one in which these warnings do not appear. But for this, it's necessary that we never activate this checkbox. We click OK. From here, it sends us directly to Google Play or Play Store with the plugin already selected. Attention! From what we have been able to see, each mobile phone or tablet is a different world. Not in all cases will do this same forwarding directly, since an authorization window may appear instead prior to forwarding. Depending on the mobile, the appearance of said window may take up to 20 seconds, and on others it may be instantaneous. Well, at this point, we simply have to press install here. Well, this is a plugin, and we don't have to open anything. And now, what we are going to do is close all the applications. We have AnyDesk here. And, on the other hand, we have the installer. We can now see the AnyDesk program icon on the screen. Depending on each mobile, we will be left in one place or another. We click here. Good. And now we get a message, and so on. We will get messages every time we close and open the program. This will be the installation strategy that we will use. This message tells us that this plugin, which we have just installed, must be activated. Let's click here, as we are agree. Notice that it has taken us to the configuration menu and then accessibility directly. As I said before, all mobile phones are not going to work the same, and not all of them are going to do the same thing by taking us directly, where instead of this, we will have to go to the configuration menu, from there to system, or additional configurations, depending on the whatever the case, and from there go to the accessibility menu manually. But here we were lucky, and it redirected us directly. Let's click. Let's click. And now it asks us for authorization, and we give it permission. Think that we are installing a remote access program, and then all caution is insufficient. And that's why there are so many questions, and it gets a little complicated. Now, what we are going to do is close all the windows again, and let's go to click on the program again to see what new messages it's going to give us. Let's click again to open the application. Well, now, what it asks us to do here is that we have to authorize the use of the plugin that we just activated. In the other words, we have installed the plugin, then we had to activate it, and now we have to authorize it. Thus, let's click I agree to authorize. Now, a kind of tutorial appears which explains the capabilities and properties of this program. But the first thing that it tells us is that we can skip it if we click outside to the circular area. Well, now in this checkbox they ask us to help them to improve the program, and we click to allow them to collect usage data. In any case, will not be collected personal data. Go back. Again, we exit the application. And we open it again. Good. This warning that we now receive, it's very important to understand what it's telling us. By default, every time we do an installation, battery optimization is activated for the majority applications. This means that after a certain time, the phone screen will turn off automatically when it notes that isn't touched manually. At that point, control over remote access will be completely lost. For both application and its corresponding plugin, we must deactivate optimized battery use. Good. Now what we do again, for the umpteenth time, is turn off the application again. And we go to the configuration menu. Be careful here, because each mobile phone is a different world. We go to the applications menu. Here, we see the last application that we have used. If we click here, we can see all the applications that we have installed. But we can go this way directly. Here we look for battery. Attention! Because what I am going to explain to you now, it can vary quite a bit for each phone, depending on the time it was purchased. We now click on battery optimization. And this is where we have the tangle. It's as if we had returned to the previous application menu, but with the aggravating circumstance that the applications that interest us have disappeared from the list. They try to make our work easier to activate optimization, but since we want to do the opposite, this creates a complication for us. And where is the key? The key is here. And it tells us that this list includes all those applications that lack battery optimization. To solve it, just let's click right above, and in this small drop-down menu, we select to show us all applications. Now we can see all of them, whether they are optimized or not. And we can see the plugin here. And if we go further down, we see the AnyDesk application. Let's start with the plugin above by clicking it. Now, in the checkbox that appears, let's choose Don't Optimize. Let's confirm, and now we go further down, looking for the application. Let's click Don't Optimize and confirm. We close the configuration menu window. And now we start the application again. Congratulations! As you can see, we no longer have any warnings, which means that we have the installation completely configured. We have been careful, in the beginning, to never press the Don't Show This message again. And in this way, we can get to the point where we have the screen clean, like now, without any warning or box, and with the certainty that the installation has been carried out correctly, thus preventing unforeseen problems from appearing when a remote connection occurs. But we're not done here, yet. Why? Because we need to configure the way we want a remote connection to be made, giving and removing privileges, as the case may be, to a specific external incoming call. And that is what my colleague is going to explain to you now.
Levistronic. Technical remote assistance and telemetry. Setting up remote call with AnyDesk. Now, what we are going to do is start the AnyDesk program from the computer. As you can see on the left, we have the mobile phone, and on our right, the remote access program, which is on the computer. If you look at this number, which is on the mobile phone, it is the one that we are going to have to write on the remote side, in this case the computer. We write now. and we press Enter. We can see that this notice appears on our mobile phone. Let's pay a lot of attention. As before, what we should never do is press this checkbox, do not show this message again. If we are sure that the incoming call is secure, we can activate the upper checkbox, and then press Accept. This message will appear every time that someone connects to us for the first time. Subsequently, if the call is authorized, this type of message will no longer appear, and in its place, a different one appears when the petitioner of the external request is known. Obviously, clicking the checkbox just below, not showing this message again, would leave us in a situation of high exposure. There are cases in which this alarm signal must be deactivated, as could be the case of various agricultural machinery, such as motorized irrigation machines. Or, if you are the one who is going to connect with the ignition unit remotely, you may want to deactivate this warning in order to establish a more fluid connection. In any case, each situation must be evaluated and choose the most convenient, since this program, AnyDesk, allows us to select the best option. Now next, I am going to explain to you how to configure the way in which we want the communication to be established, activating different types of permissions for the remote request. Let's hit it. Accept. What we now see on the screen is a list of privileges that the external requester will have prior to the connection that we must approve. As this is a new sender, we see that it doesn't have any access or permission, except being able to see. The connection has not yet been established. The sender still sees absolutely nothing, waiting for confirmation, because what we are doing is negotiating the call. Let's look now at this little tab. Through it, we can configure the accesses, which will be saved only in this sender for future sessions. We can always modify and rectify at any time. Now I will explain to you what permissions must be assigned for a fluid remote connection, which, as I have told you before, you can restrict later, or vice versa. If any access is missing, you can activate it later. So we click here. 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 And here too. What have we done? In the first checkbox, we authorize that the remote keyboard can be used. The second checkbox, referring to the pointer or indicator, is very important. Without it, remote access disappears, as control is lost over the screen, which could only be seen, but in no case could it be manipulated externally. Probably the most important checkbox. Be careful, because sometimes it's deactivated, but in any case, it's very easy to activate it again. In the third checkbox, we will make that the clipboard can be shared. In the fourth, the clipboard get the ability to copy and paste files, as in the same way for the text. Finally, in this last checkbox, we activate the remote file manager. Very useful for transferring files and folders. We accept. Now, it's from this message that communication will be established. If we accept, our mobile screen will appear on the remote computer, at which point, the battery optimization will be cancelled, preventing automatic screen shutdown until the session ends. Thus, let's accept. We see, on the left, the cell phone, and, on the right, we have the remote connection console on the computer. Now we are going to disconnect the communication, and we will see what happens with a known incoming communication. We see that instead of the warning that showed at the beginning, where it indicated the presence of a possible pirate. Now, however, in this window, the communicator is identified, along with his or her privileges inherited from the last time. If we want to modify the accesses, now is the time to do it. We will always have the possibility to modify these privileges at any time. For example, if we don't like what we see, we click here and modify. If we do not agree, we can also deny the request, and if not, we click here to accept with these permissions. And we confirm it now. Sometimes in communication, something goes wrong, and it is very important to be clear. The when, to know the moment in which we must act. The how, to know what should be done at that moment. we can see that the response delay is very small. This will not depend on the communication speed, but rather on the mobile hardware. With current mobile phones and 5G, practically this delay will be very little noticeable. In this demonstration we are using an affordable mobile phone. This is all, friends. We hope it can be of help to you.